Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us, hanging out. Beer Guys Radio, doing our thing, having beers, having conversations. It's always a good time. We're going to jump into it here in just a second. If you have a comment, we'd love to hear what you're thinking right now, what you're drinking. And yeah, just throw it in the comments. We'll be here seeing what's going on. But with that said, hold on, Nate, hold on. Let me get over here. I got to go over there. Okay, we're good. It's good, Nate. I got it figured out. All right, y'all, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks so much for joining us this week. We always appreciate it. It's a good time having some beers, learning things about beer. I am Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I think I'm very well caffeinated today, I'll have you know.
Well
I,
caffeinated.
I
Yeah.
don't know why this happens, but every now and then I am very meticulous about measuring out the amount of beans I put in my coffee. For whatever reason, I got the supercharged beans today, and I've been flying for most of
So
the day.
you didn't consume an excess of coffee. You just had some powerful coffee. Is the
No,
thing.
yeah, it's just apparently it's just this variety or whatever. I don't
All
understand
right.
it. I honestly have no idea, but it hit really hard today. So who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Sometimes that happens, man. Has it been a good thing? Has it made for a productive day?
I have been on fire and I'm just no, it's been a really good thing. I kind of wish I had this level of productivity, but I actually kind of worry that parts of my body would start failing if I ran like this all the time. So I'm like, it's probably good this doesn't happen very often. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've been amped all day. It's crazy.
Amped,
Yeah.
pumped
Yeah.
up, pumped up. Good stuff. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I have not been on fire today, but it
Yeah.
was a decent day. It's middle at the time of recording, it's middle of the week, so we're just getting through it one day at a time.
We're doing our thing. Sometimes that is all that you can do. That is for
How
sure.
you doing, Tim?
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm doing fine over here, Nate. Nothing exciting to report. I'm not hyped up. I'm not, chilled out or whatever. I'm just fine. I'm just there. So it'll do. It'll do. Well, Brian, we had a little bit. I'm going to say an adventure this past weekend. We found out that Atlanta has a soju distillery, and so we
It
went and checked
does.
that out. And I don't know soju. I still don't know soju, but we went and checked that out. They had some Korean food too, so we grabbed a bite to eat and had some soju. And I think after our trip, you actually did a little bit of research on kind of what soju is and the other beverages they make there.
Yeah, I decided I needed to look into it and find out a little bit. And it's this is all Korean, but it's a distilled spirit. It's clear. They say it's low in alcohol, but we had one that was at least 40% alcohol. So I think
Yeah.
that we had a craft version that wasn't quite the typical soju. But it tends to be neutral and it's slightly sweet in taste, which is accurate to what I noted. And it's compared to vodka, and it's said to be smoother in terms of finish and less burn. I think that is true if you get the soju's right, the 16%. I think was that the first one we had was like a 16%, right? And
Yeah.
we had a 40%er.
40% or two, right? So I think it was 17 and 40, but close enough there. Close enough.
Yeah, so that's very accurate to the typical type of soju that we had. It's traditionally made from rice, but wheat or barley. Modern soju can also incorporate sweet potatoes and tapioca and fruits. But I think the first two actual sojus we had, I think all of the sojus we had, I think were all rice based. They're typically consumed straight, neat, and chilled in a small shot glass or a small vessel, often with food, as we did basically. And it can be used in cocktails, which we also tried, and to good results, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or something we didn't try, it can be mixed with beer in a drink called somek or somek. And I would really want to try this because I've seen how it's done on YouTube, and there's a thing called a soju bomb, which is very interesting. It's like they pour the beer, they pour the soju in it, they tap a chopstick in the bottom, it turns to foam, and then they slam it. So it's kind of like it's kind of like an angry milko pour, like
Okay.
you slamming a
All
milko
right.
pour, and
Yeah.
apparently that's how you do it. And I kind of want to try that. It does seem very gassy, but that do you remember how to say the other thing we tried, the one that starts with
Ma-
M?
Macagoli, I think, or Macchioli. That's I think that's as close as I can get. Those who know what I'm talking about will know what I'm talking about, but they didn't correct me when I said it that way. I don't know. So
I think as long as you're buying one, they're like whatever
there,
you want to call it,
whatever,
man.
whatever.
But
And
that
you know, when he gave us the 17% and the 40%, he said, "This is our so and so, and this is our so and so." So you mentioned soju's like lower ABV, but I got the impression that there may be different styles of soju. And
possibly.
Nate, would you hit the GPT for us and ask it about the different styles of soju? So yeah, I got the impression that maybe the one was supposed to be more punchy, and yeah, and then the Macchioli, or however it's pronounced.
Yeah, that Macchioli. I'll go with that. That's a traditional unfiltered Korean rice wine with a milky, somewhat thick, and an often slightly sweet or tangy taste. It's a little bit like a lighter, creamy, fizzy milkshake type of thing. That's how they describe it online. It's made from fermented rice, water, and a special fermentation starter called Nurik. It's served chilled and can be found in its original form, or like we had it, with various fruit flavorings like strawberry or mango or blueberry. So it's it's actually
So
really nice. And if
that
you're
was pretty
lactose
tasty.
intolerant, yeah, it's a good way to get that kind of feel of
The milky,
almost almost a
creamy,
milkshake. Not
milky. Yeah.
not quite there, but yeah, it was really nice. I thought that was nice.
So I was surprised when I took a sip of that it has a fermented beverage taste to it.
Yeah.
And because I guess I thought it was like I thought it was unfiltered soju. So I thought it was a distilled thing that they kind of diluted down with something else. But it's that, to my understanding, is not distilled. It's just a fermented beverage, correct?
That's the indication I saw. Yeah,
Okay. And
it's
that would make sense from the flavor profile there. So if you had something like a kombucha, kind of that taste, that fermented taste there, that was also present in the Machiavelli. So
yes, the Machiavelli. Yes, it's always
yeah.
plotting against you.
Yes, exactly. But no, it was nice. Like you said, the one they had there was strawberry. So the mixed the beverage. I keep wanting to say the name, but I don't because I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce it every time I say it. But their strawberry beverage was nice.
It was. I would order it again. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
again, we had the soju and cocktails, and it did a pretty good job with the cocktails as well. So yeah, fun time. I would, if you have a place around you that's making it, give it a shot. And I know it's easy to find if you go to a liquor store. I've found them before. I've got
Yeah.
friends who drink it. I've tried it before, and I think that the one we had, especially the higher proof one, was probably the best tasting version of it I've ever had. So I like
And
that one a lot.
they also had a gin that was pretty nice there.
Yes,
That
they
their
did.
gin was actually pretty good. So I don't know if that. See, I thought it was always made out of rice. I did not know that it could be made from different, different grains there. So I just assumed it was a rice beverage. Now I kind of wish I'd asked them, what's yours made out of, just out of curiosity, because I imagine what you distill it from would give some different character to the flavor. So
I
that
would
would be
think
interesting
so.
to find
My
out.
guess is
Yeah.
probably rice. I think the majority of them are probably
All
made with
rice.
rice, but yeah, apparently more varieties than that. That's what I found. So
Like
yeah,
sake is that's rice. Like that's not flexible, right? Yeah. Okay. Nate, you find any soju information for us?
I did. So I did confirm that it is a distilled product, but it actually can be low or high proof. So the proofing range or the percentage range can be as low as 12.5% and all the way up to 53% ABV.
oh,
So so even those lower ones, might taste just fermented when they're actually distilled. But there's three main flavor types when it comes to soju. So there's fruit flavors, which include strawberry, green grape, peach, apple, plum, watermelon, etc. And then they will also have a lesser common flavor like tropical, passion fruit, grapefruit, pineapple, or even one brand does a mint chocolate. And then there's yogurt flavored soju. So there's a lot of different flavoring styles for soju. And then when it comes to the traditional or the premium sojus, there's the standard one, which is just a clear distilled spirit, neutral, slightly sweet taste, traditionally made from rice, wheat, or barley. And then the higher ABV, so that's the one that's getting up to that 53% ABV.
Okay. Interesting, but it was fun. It was something neat and different to check out, and that's then we went down to Halfway Crooks, one of our favorite breweries, and had a good time there. I went to buy Brian. When we were at Halfway Crooks, they have
yeah.
one of their slogans is "No bad memories," and they had some canvas tote bags that they were selling. And I'm like, I'm gonna get a tote bag, and I'm like, hey Brian, you want a tote bag? He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I grab a couple and go to check out, and she's like, okay, that's $42 and something. And I was like, for canvas bags? And she's like, yeah. I was like, no, no. I'm like, I'm not paying $20 for a canvas bag. So Brian, out of curiosity, I did look around at some other canvas bag prices, and apparently I'm just off scale of what canvas logo canvas bags cost these days because yeah, Brian's nodding. He's like, you're the problem here, Tim. You're the fair enough. I can admit it. I
saw that happen, and like this is swag too. Like we're talking about company swag,
right?
So
fair,
it's a
fair.
different scale. Like I know you're comparing it to. Seriously, you can go to Trader Joe's and get a bag of like a vinyl bag.
$1.99, man.
Yeah.
$1.99.
But yeah, it's that the point of that is they just don't want you using paper bags.
Right.
This one is like marketing. So this one's a little higher falutin. And I didn't say anything. I'm like, you know what? I didn't need the bag. I'm like, I'll take one if you're getting one, but then you didn't. I'm like, okay.
I used poor points of reference for that because I went back and I looked at I'm a fan of the Polo brand, Ralph Lauren Polo. I've got all the colognes literally, and I looked at Polo canvas tote bags.
Oh, how much were they?
So here's something that I found interesting. If you find them on eBay, they were like $35. Okay. So there. But I think I saw one on the Ralph Lauren website that was like 80. So, in scale there. But there's also a perfumery I like called Clandestine Laboratories, and they have merch. So I went on there, and they do have a canvas tote bag, and theirs was $28. So yeah, them branded tote bags, man. I guess I still wouldn't mind having one. I just had shock there, Brian, because I'm expecting like $5. And so,
I thought you were just feeling like, I'm like, you know what? I got a good bonus this week. I'm ready. Let's get some tote bags. I'm like, all right, let's get some tote bags.
I honestly think if I hadn't had mental expectations of it being $5, I probably wouldn't have been as shocked as that. But again, I'm thinking this is literally a canvas bag that I pay $2 for at Publix or Trader Joe's or wherever I go. But again, as you mentioned, that's kind of marketing for those guys. I mean, it's marketing for the breweries and stuff too, but essentially they want you to buy that and not go through 300 of their paper or plastic bags or thing.
Absolutely.
They want you to keep buying their groceries there. So yes, I'll admit it, man. I had a poor point of reference for that. So the end of the story is I do not have a Halfway Crooks tote bag at this time. So
at some point I'll probably might even buy one of the lager hats, but I mean, I don't even know what swag goes for these days. I'm like, I've seen like $40-$50 for like t-shirts in breweries now.
That's
like,
nuts, man. It really is.
I have a problem, and maybe I shouldn't, but I have a problem with paying that kind of money to pay. I'm basically paying to advertise your brand. Like, I'm a fan, and I do like wearing swag, but at the same time, I don't feel like I need to pay $50 to wear your swag around. So it's just me.
What's that, Nate?
Take heart that the lager hat on the Halfway Cooks website right now is only $30, so you don't have to pay $50 to rep the brand.
Does it come with a bag?
For another $20.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I need a carrier. Yeah. I need a bag to carry that hat around when I'm not wearing it.
But that's the thing, man. Beer drinkers like to rep their brands and that. And hey, we can't argue, man. We've got t-shirts, and people have bought our t-shirts with our logo on them there. Sure. So, it's something. I don't even remember what we charge for our tea. I think we did charge.
It's not $50.
It's not. You know what? I think we were like 20. So seriously, I don't think it was that bad. And I know from getting t-shirts made, we did upgrade to the nicer t-shirts. Very soft, very very nice t-shirts. They're not inexpensive. I'll put it this way: we don't make money off t-shirt sales
for sure. Because basically what we were selling for was slightly above what our cost was.
We just wanted to be able to. We wanted you to have to wear our logo and be able to buy another T-shirt was basically our
Exactly.
goal there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Well, guys, moving right along. Beers of the week. Brian, what are you getting into?
Yeah, so I pre-gamed with a Pipeworks Lizard King, which is a mosaic hopped pale ale, and it was quite nice, very enjoyable. And I'm currently working on Bell's Cold Hearted IPA, which is a cold IPA. This is one I've been looking around for a while, and I finally found some the past week. So it's a good beer, solid. You know, it's
Good,
kind of what I
good.
would expect for that. And after the show with the Patreon folks in the bonus round there, I'm going to get into Boulevard's Proper Pour, which is an imperial stout that's aged in bourbon barrels and then aged again in ruby port barrels. So double aged. Spoiler: I've had one of these before, and I like it a great deal. So yeah,
That's cool.
I heard about this coming out, I think, last year, and I didn't see it around. And then suddenly, I wasn't even expecting it. I found it on the shelf someplace. I'm like, oh my goodness! And
There
so
it
I
is.
bought it.
Boom.
Yeah, it
There it is.
glowed. Like I heard angels singing and everything else. It was great.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a fancy beer, man.
Yeah, it's very fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nate, how about you, man? What you getting into?
So starting off from my Great American beer tour, I have from The Alchemist, Fokelbanger.
Cool.
This is my first time ever having this beer, so it's kind of nice to have it on the show. And then following up from that, I've got from Burial the Forever Tethered to My Own Undoing, which is a imperial pastry stout with toasted hazelnuts and Madagascar vanilla beans.
That sounds tasty. That speaking of that, we tried so Halfway Crooks is really known mostly for like their drinking beers, you know, a lot of lager styles and kind of lighter IPAs, but they had a barrel-aged stout on this weekend that was phenomenal. And we missed their Oktoberfest by a week. That's coming out this
Yes.
weekend. So I have to try and make it back down there, you know, to grab some of that. But it was
You could join me on
it
Sunday
was
when I
good.
go.
You going Sunday? Yeah,
Oh,
Sunday.
maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. That's because we're, for those, I know everybody likes this show. We always enjoy doing it. We're recording our Oktoberfest tasting. That is this coming weekend, right?
That's
Yeah,
this
it's
coming
coming up,
Saturday.
yeah.
Yep.
So next week's show
Actually, the
will
day
be
we
our-
release this episode, we'll be recording the Oktoberfest.
Yep. So we're recording our Oktoberfest show. So just a little heads up there. No live show next week because we're going to be doing the Oktoberfest show this weekend, but that'll be next week's show. And always a fun time seeing what's in. And I know Nate and Brian have been on the hunt to get us a good variety of Oktoberfest beers there. So be a good time. So Beer Snob Sean chimed in on the swag stuff. And he said stickers above $1 or $2 are a big issue with me.
Mhm.
And you know what? I
Yeah.
have to agree with that, man. Stickers should almost be like there's a cost associated with those, but that should be giveaway marketing. Especially if someone, let's say you're at your brewery, they bought a couple beers, they've done this and that, give them a sticker, man. Give them a sticker. Because I have seen some where they're like, these are $3, these are $5. I'm like, I'm not paying you. I'm not paying
Didn't
you
we
$5
quit
for a
charging
sticker.
for stickers like 2 or 3 years ago?
We
Like,
did.
the ones
We-
we
we-
just
Yeah.
if we have them, we just give them to people. Like we haven't charged for
Yeah.
a sticker in ages.
We have small, like we had some buttons that had our logo on it, and we had some stickers. I think we had some keychains, maybe. That's it
Yeah.
used to be that these swag makers would occasionally run deals where they're like, we'll do 30 of these for $1. You know, so we may not have a lot of an item, but we're like, yeah, why not? Or 30 for $10, something like that. So we'd get some and just give them away at events and different things there.
Yeah, I think the only thing we ever charged for, at least after in the past 3 or 4 years, it's only been like hats and shirts.
And hats.
And that's
Mhm.
because
Shirts and
there's such a
hats.
cost involved with them.
Yeah.
And not even for those sometimes. So like, a brewery buddy comes along and say, hey man, I never got one of your shirts. I'm like, all right, man, we'll hook you up. Or I
We
need
got you.
I need a
We
hat.
got
Get a
you.
friend. Like I need a hat. Yeah,
We
all
are
right, all right,
terrible
yeah.
business people when it comes
We're
to that.
so
We
bad at
give
making any kind of
hats
money
and
off of
shirts
that.
and
No.
that. Someone's like, "Oh, I like those shirts." I'm like, "Let me give you one.
Yeah,
Let
that's
me give you one."
right.
So here you go.
That's the wrong
Does your daughter
approach.
your daughter need a nightgown? Your wife want one? Does your dog wear a t-shirt? So
That's when we're supposed to bid them up. I really
We're
like that.
so
Oh, you
smart.
do you? Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this one's
Yeah.
$30. No.
that's right. 30, 40. Start putting them on eBay, see what we can do there.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, interesting news. Sean O'Sullivan from 21st Amendment announced about a month ago now, I think, a few weeks ago, that he was leaving the brewery. He
Yeah.
announced that he was kind of taking a pause from that. And then not far behind that, really surprising news to me, but 21st Amendment is shutting down and looking for a buyer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, seriously, within like a day or two of him saying, I think
Yeah.
he and Nico both were talking about stepping away, and like a day or two later, 21st Amendment, they officially announced that they're winding down operations and ceasing production after 25 years. So both of the co-founders are seeking a buyer for the brand. Operations at the San Leandro production facility are expected to stop in early November, but the company plans to keep the tap rooms open as long as possible, though, because I think they have a lot of product that they can sell. The decision came after a potential financial lender backed out of a deal to invest in the brand. The lender cited mounting challenges in the craft beer industry. They got cold feet, basically. So I think when the announcement was made, they expected to have the money, and then they found out a day or two later, like, nope, you're not going to have that investment money. So basically the company has faced numerous obstacles, including declining sales, economic uncertainty, which everybody's faced really, significant challenges stemming from COVID-19, and the COVID thing was a really big one for them. The company hasn't been able to recover from it. They've been suffering double-digit volume declines every year since 2019, which is a lot of years for double-digit declines. But they also specifically said they had a disruptive distributor switch, and they were put on an allocation by a can supplier, and they had a dissolution, I guess is the word for that, of a national sales partnership. All of those things happened together in some like a short period of time, and that put them in a very bad spot on top of everything else going on. So their large-scale production facility has become unsustainable as beer sales have slowed, and the business hasn't been profitable in several years, which is understandable considering they're losing a lot of sales. Despite the closure, the founders hope that a buyer will acquire the brand, and keep the legacy alive. All I can say is I hope it's not Sapporo, and I hope they're able to find a buyer because I miss their beer, and I don't think they've been available in our area for a while. But I like their the Fireside Chat beer, and they had a couple of other beers.
Lower
to come
Boom,
around.
the little shorty cans of barley wine that they had.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hell or
really-
High Watermelon was a good summer crusher.
A lot of people like that.
And
I
the
really
Fireside
like.
Chat was their Christmas, like their winter
Yes.
warmer
holiday
beer.
Yeah.
I really like their coasters too because they had the best like the coasters I have on my side table. They're really worn out, so you can barely tell what they are. But the Bitter American Session Ale that had the monkey in the spacesuit. Love those coasters. I love the art on the cans. I liked a lot of. I liked the beer too. I'm like they did a lot of things right, and it's really sad to see them in this spot. I hope somebody steps up, helps them out.
Sean was a good dude. We had him on the show a while back, then we actually met him. He came through town for a beer festival, the Decatur Craft Beer Fest, back
That's
when
right.
that was
Yeah.
our big fest. And I remember it was pouring rain, like we're all wearing trash bags out there to keep from drowning in the trying to do the beer fest thing. So we didn't get to hang out much because again, it was pouring rain. So we basically said, hey, what's up and all this, but enjoyed their beers. And they're another one, man. There's just so many of these big breweries that, the growth of craft beer hurt these big guys that are the 25-year-old breweries that relied a lot on distribution, because now people are drinking the beer that's made in their backyard a lot more than they are these nationwide brands. And I imagine having a massive brewery like they did, tough to hold on to. So that's bummer news, man. I like I like 21st Amendment for sure. So another one, man, won't be the last, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
No.
Yeah, well, Brian, we're very health conscious, as everybody that listens to this show knows. We always try and keep up with guidelines and what's going on. And we found out this week or recently a controversial study was dropped regarding dietary guidelines for alcohol consumption.
Indeed. We're basically a health podcast, Tim.
Pretty much, essentially.
So like you said, the controversial study was dropped. It had been commissioned for the 2025 Dietary Guidelines for Americans and shelved reportedly. I don't know if this is official, but reportedly shelved by U.S. government officials. The study in question was created by the Interagency Coordinating Committee on the Prevention of Underage Drinking, so ICPUD. is the way I like to call them.
Great.
You
great.
probably heard us talking about it before. The study basically says that the risk of dying from alcohol use begins at very low levels of consumption, and that there are basically no safe levels of alcohol consumption. So a very strong line on alcohol. Beverage industry, alcohol industry groups, including the Brewers Association, have been fighting the study for over a year, claiming it's biased, it lacks transparency, and it was conducted by scientists with anti-alcohol affiliations. So reportedly, the people doing the research were funded by groups interested in people just never
Abstinence.
drinking again. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. And that makes me suspicious.
A little sus.
Yeah, so if the study is legit and there literally is this problem and they really found it, that's one thing. But if you're getting paid to find that, well, then I question it. But anyway, so the findings were considerably different in the other government commission study from the National Academies of Sciences, which painted a gentler picture of moderate drinking, which is more in line with everything we've ever heard about moderate drinking. I think it's like moderate drinking is safe. The one thing they did say is like even with moderate drinking, there's a slight increase of the risk of breast cancer for women. So with moderate drinking, so that was the one thing that they kind of lowered the or raised awareness of basically with theirs. So if you're interested in reading the study, the authors say they still plan to publish it in an academic journal. They don't say which one. So it will be available at some point, but I think you get the general gist of what it's going to say. The updated dietary guidelines for the 2025 to 2030 period has not yet been released yet. And there's no timeline as to when this is actually going to happen. So earlier this year, we thought the guidelines were going to be released in July, and now we just don't know. We know they're working on them, and we know what's going to be in them. So it's a little less interesting when they get released, because unless they add a new study that says once again that alcohol will just outright murder you the minute you drink it. I mean, I think this will be a non-issue. Yeah.
Look at it and you're in trouble. I wonder how many scientific studies are truly 100% unbiased, because I feel like anybody who goes into a study, they have something they're trying to find, or they have a result that they want to get. And especially when it comes to like our diets, what we should eat. And I can't remember the specific thing, but I've heard a few things that about like the guidelines of what we eat, and that they're all biased. Like this was done by I think corn syrup is a good one. They're talking about, you see these commercials out, and it talks about there's like pro corn syrup commercials out these days. And apparently, of course, if you see the little tagline at the bottom, it's like, paid for by the corn producers of America or something along those lines, and it's like, oh, I won't drink that. That's got corn syrup in it. And the other person kind of smugly says, corn syrup's totally fine when consumed in moderation, So, and I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it's good. And I think I remember seeing a study that corn syrup, the type of sugar in corn syrup, is different. And I forget a little bit from the brewing days, but there's like sucrose and
maybe
maltose and all,
like
and fructose and all of those. And apparently the type of sugar in corn syrup is not the best for you, the way that it impacts your body. But according to the people that make corn syrup, Brian, it's totally fine.
It's totally good. Yeah. The people that grow in the corn are like, dude, no, it's fine.
That's fine. I
have
have
as
it
much
all
of
the
it as
time,
you want.
man.
You'll be good.
That's right. Yeah. I feed it to my bowls of it to my kids for breakfast.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. But yeah, it would be nice to just have, because you know what? If I could trust all these studies, I'd do my best to, it's like, hey, this legit, this is really bad for you. And I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. But every study I hear, I wonder if it's legitimate.
At a certain point in time, I believed anything like had scientists touched it and it had gone through research and peer review. Oh, that's got to be legit. It's like, no, you can finesse data any way you want and come up with observations any way you want, and choose to ignore some things that might be very obvious and play up some things that are less obvious. And the people who are funding your research, that tells you a lot about what the actual study's about. So I honestly don't know what to believe anymore about most things. So
nobody does, man.
I just believe I'll have another beer. That's the
believe
only
I'll
thing
have
I
another
can
beer.
Yes.
Moderation, Brian. Moderation. Good stuff.
Only one beer at a time. That's my moderation.
That's right. That's how moderate you are. And sometimes not even that, depending on how the
Exactly.
day goes. Well, Brian, before we move on, how about we give a shout out to our good friends at Truck and Tap?
Sounds like a good idea. The prime patio weather continues this week in Georgia. You're never going to find a better time to drink in the great weather and some equally great fresh craft beer at Truck and Tap. This is the perfect time to do it. Whether you're looking for crisp lagers, tropical fruited sours, or the latest hazies, or even something stouter, Truck and Tap has you covered. And don't sleep on the overproof rum and tequila bar at Truck and Tap Alpharetta. I need to go there. I still haven't been there. It's really a good time for a Mai Tai, and they can hook you up there. But let's focus on the wide variety of craft beer available, so I have an excuse to give you my beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with Creature Comfort's Cherry Oud Brune. This foeder-aged fruited sour showed up a few months ago at one of the locations and quickly disappeared, and I missed it, and I'll bet you did too. And it's a limited thing, so now's your second chance. I love an Oud Brune, and this one is said to have amazing depth and character. Reportedly, it tastes a little bit like a cherry wine, which is intriguing. I'm not sure. I'd have to try that to see if I really enjoy it, but I have a feeling I would. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Halfway Crooks Radix on the side pull tap. There's nothing mysterious here. I love a good German Pilsner on a side pull tap, and this one features Hellertau Blanc hops from the Seitz farm in Bavaria, so it'll be quite lovely to drink on the patio. At Truck and Tap Alpharetta, my pick is Wild Leap's Alpha Abstraction Volume 29. I have been drinking the Alpha Abstraction series of IPAs since the very beginning, since the very first one, and it's always fun to try the latest iteration. They do vary a great deal from one to the next. I couldn't even tell you at this point which is my favorite because there have been like 30 of them. But this one is double dry hop with Brew 1 hops. According to Yakima Valley Hops, you can expect intense pineapple, stone fruit, and fresh cut grass notes in Volume 29. And I do believe I enjoy fresh cut grass hoppy notes in my beer. So this could be a winner right here. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Jester King's Le Petit Prince. It's just the ultimate session beer. They call it a farmhouse table beer, and it's fermented with wild ale yeast, and it definitely tastes like it. The ABV has varied over the years, but it's usually 3% or less. It has way more flavor than you would expect for such a light beer. It's really impressive. It's truly an excellent beer, and I could drink this one by the pitcher. And there you have my beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, take a look at truckandtap.com. The taps change quickly, and you never know what new fresh beer is going to go on tap, and it may be better than anything I've talked about. And if you'd like to see what food trucks are serving and what events are happening, your trivia, your karaoke, your live music, you can also find that at truckandtap.com. Everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com, so check that out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thanks, Truck and Tap. You're the best. Brian, Gen Z. We love talking trash about Gen Z. Millennials, Gen Z, whatever generation is currently starting to drink beer, we are here to talk smack about.
We are,
it.
yes.
And the latest one is Gen Z has got what they're calling an ice cold trend in drinking beer.
Yes, the ice cold trend. I'm disappointed that millennials have gotten boring. They're not doing things that annoy me anymore. So we have to go to Gen Z. Yes. So the new drinking trend that is gaining popularity with Gen Z drinkers, they are adding ice to their beer, a practice they say is refreshing and ideal for warm weather. The trend is being shared widely on social media platforms like TikTok, because of course it is, where users are seen adding ice to everything from Mexican lagers to non-alcoholic radlers. And it doesn't look like this is something people are just doing for social media, not just for the likes. Bar managers and industry professionals report seeing this trend also firsthand. So people are really ordering these things. As you might expect, the practice has received mixed reaction online, with some critics expressing disgust, rightfully so, and others who really don't even like beer defend it as a great way to enjoy beer on a hot day. Again, those people don't know what beer is, probably. As with anything like this, people are claiming to have learned it from travels to places like Thailand or France, those places were specifically mentioned. I believe that about as much as I believe the thing at the beginning of those horrible rage bait cooking videos that are all over social media, where they say they learned how to dump an entire bag of pre-shredded cheddar cheese on top of dry pasta in a disposable aluminum pan from their travels in Italy. Yes, that's the same place.
I hate those.
Yes, I believe that. You got this from Italy. Sure you did. You got this from Thailand? Of course you did. No, you did not. But anyway, Are you guys going to try putting ice in your beers now? Because it's still pretty warm out.
So I have thoughts here, Brian, as you
Yeah.
might. So I did think about this, Brian. I thought about my beloved Michelada when we were talking on this, and that is served with ice. So
It
you
is.
put it in
Yeah.
there, but that's more a cocktail though.
It is.
So I don't know that counts. So here's my thing: is especially with beer, really any kind of beverage like that. You're diluting it. It's not going to taste right. That's it. I mean, okay, if you want a cold beer, that's great. But also, I mean, if they're doing it with stuff like a Mexican lager and this and that, those beers are meant to be cold, pretty cold there. So I want to let people live their lives, Brian, but also I'm a crotchety old guy. So I'm torn between
Yes.
those two things. So I'm against it. I'm against it. That's my official stance. I'm against it unless you're doing something like a Michelada where you're cocktailing it up. But I will say that I could waffle on this topic.
I think I agree with beer snob Sean saying only if I were dying of thirst, literally. So, yes,
Yeah.
if that were
Okay.
at the end of the Oasis and there was like it's an IPA with ice in it, I'm like I would still groan. I'm like, oh, why? And then I
Brian would
drink
choose
it.
death.
Well, you know what? I might smack it away. I'm
It's
like, no,
forget-
it is time for me to depart.
Plop dies.
All right. So
Nate?
I've got a few comments on this. One, isn't this the same generation that was blasting bars for overfilling their cocktail glass with ice and not understanding how ice displaces liquid and all that stuff?
I
Isn't
have
this
thoughts
that
on
same
that
generation?
too. But I don't know. Were they?
I remember it being a trend at one point, and where people
Okay.
were shocked that a glass that looked full, when you pulled the ice out, it was no longer full, and it's like, yeah, that's what liquid displacement does.
That's displacement.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I initially wanted to have a visceral reaction. I agree with you, Tim. Personally, no way. But if it gets the young kids buying pints of beer,
If they're drinking, let
they're
them drink,
drinking.
man.
They're
Let
drinking. Let them drink. Yeah.
They need
You
to.
know,
I want to see them split the G when the Guinness is full of ice. That's going to be a little. That's like a.
do you have to split it with the ice or just the liquid? There?
I don't know. I'm thinking
Okay.
this one through as I.
You know,
as I
and
go.
I thought about, so here's something else I thought about. Man, there's many layers to this. It's not as simple as just pouring a beer over ice, Brian, because I think it's Thai, the jelly beer that they call it.
Yes.
So, okay, for those that don't know, they call it jelly beer, but there's a special contraption that rotates bottles of beer in a bucket of ice water. And the way it does them, when they pop the caps and pour it into a glass, it instantly crystallizes. So you get ice beer. Now, the difference here being, Brian, is the ice is beer.
Yeah, you're
So,
freezing the water in the beer a little bit.
but
Yeah,
I remember us going to a Thai joint here, and it is Thai, isn't it, Brian?
it is Thai. Yeah.
I remember us going to a Thai joint here in Atlanta that does the jelly beers. And I think it was 138 degrees, if I remember right, the day that we went. And we're sitting on the patio and we're just dripping sweat. And I will say, those jelly beers that were frozen were really, really nice out there.
We definitely
on the
ordered a
patio.
second round of them.
We did. We did. So, yeah, I gotta give a little bit on that. But Nate, to go back to your cocktail ice, that brings up a good point. When we were at that soju distillery, Brian got a cocktail that had a square rectangular ice cube in it.
Mhm.
And you could literally you could read a menu through the bottom of his glass because the ice took up all that. Now, here's my deal. I understand liquid displacement a little bit. It's a little bit voodoo to me, to be honest with you, Nate. I'm not sure exactly how it works. But if you pull that cube out, you've got seriously like a quarter glass of liquid, and it's 13 to 15 bucks. So man, I think I'm getting to the age where I'm old enough that I remember stuff being cheap, and I'm not, now everything's expensive. Everything's expensive. So, If you charge me $13 for a cocktail, and it's a quarter of a cocktail's glass worth of cocktail, and 3/4 of that is mixers, I don't love it, man. I don't love
So
it.
would you be happier with a smaller volume glass, less ice, less mixer, but the exact same amount of alcohol?
No, I want an 8-ounce cocktail for $13 is what I'm looking for
I
here.
want to
So
go back to the days of the shaker pint for $12, where it was what was it? The AMF for the Long Island iced tea,
Long
where
Island
almost
teas
all
and
of it
that.
was
Yeah.
almost the entire 12 ounces or whatever the heck the shaker
Right.
was, but it was a shaker pint, was just nearly all alcohol. And we get started off on the day, and it was like, you might have been $10, might have been 12, but you know what? Felt like a good deal, and also felt like you didn't care about anything at all afterwards.
Don't
So that
care.
was
I
kind of neat.
think.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think my age is starting to get to me. Like I'm getting old enough that I remember buying things. I talk about gas for 89 cents a gallon. I remember my dad talking about going to the movies for a nickel and buying a gallon of gas for like 17 cents or something. And I remember my thought was, man, he's old. He's super, super old, which is exactly what people younger than me think
Yes.
when I say, I remember dollar movies. I remember going to the movies on the weekend for $1, and our theater had a deal where if you cut the coupon out of the newspaper, which newspapers were a thing then, and that's relevant now because Atlanta's newspaper, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, has announced that they're quitting their
Oh, that's
print
right.
issue
Yeah, they're quitting
altogether.
the
So,
prints.
in
Yeah.
a city of over 6 million people, we won't have a printed newspaper anymore. So,
Wow.
but back in my day, kids, back in my day, you could cut the coupon out of the newspaper, and you got a movie, a small popcorn, and a small drink for $1.
I had a
One.
$1.50 theater in
Yeah.
my college town. And I went to that
Yeah.
a lot. And,
Right.
I did read an article recently, and wasn't even planning on bringing it up, but it was about the whole ice thing. And the large cube, you're actually being done a favor. There is displacement, but your cocktail is typically 3 to 4 ounces, depending on what the ratios are. Putting the large cube in there keeps it from watering it down. So when they stretch it out over a large vessel with a large cube, they're actually doing you a favor, keeping it colder without diluting it. That was
Don't
the
get
right
as much melt from multiple cubes, multiple surfaces there, huh?
And I do agree that a single larger volume of ice is a better way to go. And yes, if you're taking long enough where that will matter, I do respect
That's
that.
a you
And
problem. All right.
at no time was that cocktail ever warm. It was cold the entire time, and that cube didn't melt that much the entire time I was drinking it. So I do have to say that there's something to that, and I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily angry at it, but I make a lot of cocktails at home, so I know about what a cocktail is, and I know how I usually serve them, and like the preparation, the long glass with the long like rectangular ice cube does make it look
Yeah.
like there's effectively no actual liquor in there, but I get it. I do get that. So
I think the thing is I see a glass and I'm like, okay, there's a full glass of beverage, of frosty beverage that's going to quench my thirst. And then I take 3 sips out of it
and it's gone.
I was like, wait, what's this? And I still got a brick of ice in there, but I guess that's the cocktail world.
That's bonus. That cube was very clear, which was nice. You could see through it, and you could do whatever you want with that cube when you're done, Tim. They didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't want that cube back. So
I guess on that respect, it was a quality cube of ice because again, you
Yes.
could read through it. So it was a crystal clear block of ice there.
I'm jealous of that. I know how to make those, but I do not have the ability right now to make them. So I like those. I have
Yeah.
a big rock maker that does a really good job, but I get all the impurities and all the stuff
Yeah.
in it. So when you look at it, I'm like, oh, it's nice, but it's not quite as nice as it could be. So I like
I'm sure
that.
a lot of big metro cities have this now, but we actually have a place that will deliver to the bars and restaurants the crystal cubes, basically. So yeah, someone out there making money on making crystal clear ice. Good
More
stuff for
power
your
to 'em, man.
cocktails. For your cocktails. I'll get over it, man. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I had pondered recently on the show about beer in Africa, and you actually ran across a story talking about this, that they're cranking down there, that Africa's beer production is actually surging right now.
Yeah, the news this week's delivered on your desire for African beer news in a spectacular way. According to the EcoFin agency, the website, Africa's beer production reached a new record high of 160.5 million hectoliters in 2024. That is a 6.7% year over year growth. This surge made Africa the only continent to increase beer output in 2024 as global production declined by 0.3%. The growth was largely driven by Angola, which saw beer production soar by a record 35% to 16.2 million hectoliters. That is the fastest growth rate in the world. Angola's performance allowed it to surpass Ethiopia and become the third largest beer producer in Africa, behind South Africa and Nigeria. And I believe Nigeria is where we were talking about that has a Guinness brewery.
Mm-hmm.
The growth marks a strong recovery from the slowdown in production caused by the 2020 pandemic. And I got to say, way to go, Africa. That's incredible numbers. And if you're interested in trying some beers in Africa, the following are reportedly available here in the U.S. You might have to go looking for them. It may be tough. Tusker and Whitecap from Kenya. And I think Whitecap is a reference to Kilimanjaro, I believe, from what I was seeing. Star Lager from Nigeria. Castle Lager, Windhoek, and Carling Black Label from South Africa. I think Carling might be tied to a macro brewer, but I don't know. Whatever. I don't know how representative any of these beers are of what's being brewed and consumed in Africa, but these are what's available here. So if you'd like to get an idea of what they're making there, this is some of it. So yeah, I'm gonna keep a lookout. I've seen Tusker before. And there's a few other ones I'm interested in trying out. So if I see these, I'm definitely getting some.
I'd try African beer. See whether I think every country we found. I don't even remember what it was called now, but I went to a Korean joint and they had the Korean. Every place has got their standard lager. Yeah. Your basic lager beer there. So, and then China again, snow. Didn't you? You found some variation of snow, didn't you, Brian?
I found their export one. It's available, like a limited amount of it, but I did find it here locally and drank it. It's not bad. I think it's pretty solid. Would it keep me coming back? It's not going to keep me from drinking Halfway Crooks instead, but it's good enough that I would drink it if I saw it, for sure.
Well, that's like going out to a Indian place that has, what's it, Hayward's 5000 or what's the other one? They've got Kingfisher, Hayward's, and they come in like 500 ml bottles. If I go out, I'm probably going to have me a half liter of some Indian beer with my curry. It's just, do I ever want Kingfisher any other time? No, I don't. But I do enjoy having a bottle of it there when I'm eating my Indian food.
Yeah, or Singha or Beer Chang for Thai food, I think, are the two that I typically see. So either one of those, yeah.
Just not Sapporo, right, Brian?
It never Sapporo. No, Sapporo.
The anti-Sapporo front.
Nope.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, I have to keep an eye out, see if we see. I wonder if any of our African restaurants around here have some African beers.
They probably would, because we do have some South African restaurants or something.
We have South African. We have Ethiopian joints.
Ethiopian too, yeah.
So I bet we have a few that we might be able to find something there. We'll have to poke around and see because I could go for some Ethiopian food too. I'm down for that.
I think there's a small enclave of Ethiopian restaurants not far from where I live, like 2 or 3 of them together in one small area. I haven't been to them in years. I went one time. It was good. It was really good. It was interesting. I had like completely different concept for food for me. So yeah.
They would probably love it. I know one of their popular dishes is like chopped up raw beef with an egg yolk on it.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely disgusting. I'm sure I would love that.
Yeah, it absolutely.
They would be all over that.
Kitfo, I think, is the one I was thinking of. Kitfo, and apparently they have another one called Gored. But I believe we've had Kitfo at one of the joints here before, Brian. I think we tried.
Probably.
I do love the
big
bread.
Spread of a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
they remember what all of it was. Yeah,
bread. They've got that spongy sourdough bread injera that is kind of tart, and normally they'll put a piece of that down and load you up with stuff on top of it. So
it was good. I don't remember hardly any of it, but I would do it again.
They know how to throw down. Good stuff. Well, Brian, interesting news here. Mosquitoes. We're getting, you know what? I don't remember seeing a ton of mosquitoes this year. And that's
No.
usually I don't. There have been years definitely where they were thick, but I don't remember that many this year. But there is a new study that say mosquitoes prefer beer drinkers.
Yeah, well, it's because beer drinkers are naturally more attractive. But anyway, researchers from a Dutch university conducted a study at a music festival in the Netherlands to understand why some people are more prone to mosquito bites than others. The study involved 500 festival attendees who put their arms in a box full of mosquitoes. The researchers recorded with a video camera the mosquitoes' reaction to their arms. They kept track of how many mosquitoes landed on the arms and how long they lingered. But don't worry, this sounds horrible. This actually kind of sounds nightmarish. But the participants in the study wore a special protective covering to prevent the mosquitoes from actually biting them. But the material was porous enough to allow the scent of their skin to pass through, so the mosquitoes could smell them, but not, wide enough openings anywhere so the mosquitoes could actually bite them. Concert goers also answered a questionnaire about their behavior at the festival and before the festival. Researchers found a significant correlation between mosquito attraction and beer consumption. They also found that people who had smoked marijuana or shared a bed with somebody else recently also got a lot of mosquito attention. According to the researchers, mosquitoes simply have a taste for the hedonists among us. So mosquitoes know who's having a good time, and they want to have a good time too. So they're just going to suck your blood, basically. On the other hand, people who had recently showered or were wearing sunscreen were less attractive to mosquitoes. So on the plus side, we've learned that sunscreen is also good for repelling mosquitoes on top of keeping you from getting skin damage and possibly cancer. In another article we talked about back in the spring, I knew I remembered talking about mosquitoes recently. Smithsonian Magazine came to a similar conclusion. Their theory was that drinking led to increased CO2 emission and body temperature. I speculated back then that I thought that the smell of your sweat after you drinking seems like a plausible explanation too, because it's noticeable depending on how much you drink and what you're drinking. This new study seems to support that theory, so I'm actually going to take a little bit of a win for this, my little off the cuff remark there. But that article also noted other things being shown to attract mosquitoes, including having type O blood, a recent exercise, skin bacteria, sweat chemistry, genetics, and the color of your clothing. So all those play into it. But
Interesting.
the aroma, that's a thing. So
That makes sense. Yeah, I get it. As a side note, mosquitoes also, I think that's flies. I don't know if mosquitoes, I was going to say they eat poo, but I don't know if
Yeah.
that's mosquito. I know flies. Flies will
I don't
do
think
that.
mosquitoes would do that because they don't need those
No.
little straw things for poo, because poo is very,
Slurping it out there.
yeah, I don't think it's a straw type of situation there.
Fair. Probably right there. Probably right. Well, Brian, this one, I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. Interesting information, but traces of rare earth minerals have been found in beer.
Yeah, that sounds like that could be a good thing or a bad thing, but
That's what I was
apparently
thinking. I don't know.
It's
Yeah.
not a good thing. So,
Okay, fair enough.
move over microplastics. There is a new water pollutant in town for us all to be terrified of. A study published in Food Chemistry found traces of gadolinium, GD on the periodic chart of elements, in both beer and energy drinks in Europe and parts of Asia. Gadolinium is a rare earth element that is used in medical MRI scans. The research suggests that gadolinium enters the water supply, specifically rivers and aquifers, after first being excreted by patients and passing through the wastewater treatment system. So, yeah, whatever's happening with MRIs, you're passing that into the water after the fact.
Yeah.
30 beers from various countries were tested. All of them were found to have some level of gadolinium contamination. One beer, Sagres from Portugal, showed a significantly higher concentration of gadolinium, which researchers have linked to their water source, which is the Tagus River. I'm not sure why the Tagus River has so much, but it does. But aside from that beer, no other beverages demonstrated levels considered to be dangerous, and it's actually not clear if the levels found in that Sagres beer from Portugal are actually harmful, but they were significantly higher than the rest. The study concludes that the contamination levels are currently small, so we don't need to freak out just yet, but they should not be ignored, and they do require some future research to make sure we can track their evolution and see if it's going to be heading into the problem territory. The one thing that seems clear to me after reading this is that the water the breweries are currently using to make their beer is going to become more and more important in the future. And it might be a good idea to get out ahead of this and start working on that water game, and even putting it on your cans that this water is like, we've gone through these processes
Cleaned
for
it
the
up.
water in this beer.
Cleaned it
Yeah,
up.
because that's going to become a problem. I'm just warning people now. People are going to start freaking out about this eventually. It's sooner or later, you know?
Yeah, man, they're always finding something new there. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I don't know. We're never going to be safe again. It's just all nuts. All
Were
of it.
we
All of
ever,
it. All of
Tim?
it. I don't know.
Probably
I
not.
don't know, man. Well, y'all, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Again, as a reminder, we will not have a live stream next week. We are recording our Oktoberfest tasting show, which will come out next weekend. If you enjoy what we're doing here, we would love for you to support us on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/beerguys. If you'd rather just support us with no cost, that's cool. Tell a friend to listen, subscribe to the podcast, share with your friends. We would greatly appreciate it. But with all that said, we hope you have a really good week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers. All right.
I
Well,
probably
y'all,
shouldn't have
thanks
ended
for
with a gadolinium story.
the gadolinium.
Everybody's
story.
terrified now. No,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to die yet.
Put
Yet.
ice in your gadolinium
Yeah.
beer there. We all have a good one. We're going to wrap up. We will see you in 2 weeks. You know what? If you've got some Oktoberfest recommendations for us, let us know. I think we're still finalizing our list. We're getting close, but we're finalizing that. So, let us know, y'all. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Cheers.